All right, hello, welcome back. So we are moving on to the second activity for Tuesday of week 2, which is light microscopy, which is lab 3-1. Also learning how to do oil immersion and looking at some live living bacteria. So that's where we're at, cruising through our syllabus here. So there's quite a few sections in your lab manual dealing with microscopy. I'm using these labs as to help students learn how to use a microscope if they've never used it before, especially coming off of some of these COVID science labs. You may not have got that in person. Or refreshing if it's been a while since you've used a microscope. And then also a technique that we don't teach in any other class except for microbiology is oil immersion. So I'm going to show you how to do that as well. So there's just a lot of introductory information about the parts and pieces of a compound light microscope, which is what we use in lab. Different types of light microscopy. So we use bright field, which means the background is illuminated, the specimen is usually dark or stained. There's dark field, phase contrast, and fluorescent microscopy. You'll be learning that in chapter 4 in lecture. But we use this bright field light microscopy. We do not have the filters to do these other techniques. It talks a little bit about the objectives and how microscopes magnify things with the curved lenses. I'm not too concerned about the math that goes along with numerical aperture. You need to be able to determine the total magnification, which is the multiplication of the eyepiece magnification and the objective lens magnification. I'll go through that when I give you the tour of the microscope here in a second. So 3.1 just introduces basically how to use a microscope. So if you've never used one before, if it's been a while, you can read through that. We're not doing the blood slide or the threads. That was kind of general bio stuff. So it just has more informational for you. Okay. Then we're going to take a look at some prepared slides. And lab 3.3 is eukaryotic microbes. We do have an option in today's lab to look at pond water and living bacteria. So this just has a whole bunch of different potential specimens that you could see in the pond water. Right, so all of these different diagrams. You may or may not see all of these things in our pond water, so just more for reference. Okay. So really, in all of the labs that we're doing, you just need to be able to know how to use a microscope, and that's what we're going to do next. So I've got one handy dandy right here. So this is our compound light microscope. And the reason why it's called compound is because there's lenses in the ocular and there's objective lenses. And to find the total magnification, you multiply. So our oculars are always 10x. And then our objectives have our scanning power is 4x. Our low power is 10x. Our high dry power is 40x. And our oil immersion is 100x. So to get total magnification, you just multiply your 10x eyepiece times your objective. So our lowest magnification on scanning will be 10 times 4, which is 40. Our low power is 10 times 10, which is 100. Our high dry power is 10 times 40, which is 400. And our oil immersion is 100, so 10 times 100 is 1,000. So the highest magnification that we can get with our bacteria in this class is going to be 1,000 times magnification. And just to let you know, they're still going to be really, really small. So bacteria are super, super tiny. So those are our objectives, okay? And that's how we figure out total magnification, 10x eyepieces multiplied by the magnification of each of these objectives, okay? So let's do a quick tour. I think I'm going to change the angle of my camera here so you can see things a little bit more straight on. There we go. All right, so there's our objectives. This black piece right here is called the stage, and we have a stage clip. And so our slide's going to fit on that. I'm going to get a slide out of my slide box right here. Ooh, it's a typical coccus, something that you guys are going to be looking at. So this is our prepared slide. It's got a label, it tells you what it is, and the specimen is right in the middle. So when you're ready, you can put your specimen right on that slide clip. Now, I'm not going to plug this in because, you know, I'm just using this as a demonstration. I'll turn it around here so you can kind of see all the parts. But you'd plug it in to turn it on, all that kind of fun stuff. So on this side of the stage, you can see these dials. So these are called the stage I don't know what they're called, stage dials, I'm gonna call them that. So you use those to move the specimen until the stained specimen is right over the light that's gonna be coming through here. All right, so once that's centered and you have your lights coming on and things, you're going to then use your eyes to look through the eyepiece as you use your coarse focus knob. Where's that? Way down here. Coarse focus knob is the big one, and if you'll notice, that's going to bring the stage all the way up and all the way down. So this is the coarse focus knob, and then the fine focus knob only moves the stage a little bit. I'm going to have everybody start with the coarse focus and the stage all the way up. Okay, so you have your specimen centered with our little stage knobs here. You're going to be looking into the eyepieces, and then with the stage all the way up, you're going to start slowly lowering the stage. And then it's going to, most things are pink or purple, so it's going to look kind of fuzzy, and then you're going to lower the stage until it comes into clear view. And then you're like, oh, okay, I can see it. So then you move to the fine focus to get that nice and clear. And all the while you're looking in these eyepieces up here, okay? So then when you're ready to zoom in, you're like, I just see kind of some pink fuzz. Is there any more detail to this? Yes, there are. So then without touching any of the focus knobs, what you'll want to do is you just click that next objective into place. So we're going from the 4x scanning power to the 10x low power. So once you do this, we no longer touch this coarse focus knob because it moves the stage too much, and if you'll notice, our objectives are quite a bit longer, and we do not want to break the slide or scratch the objective lens. So looking through the eyepieces, you'll then just use the fine focus to get things just how you want them, so it's nice and clear on that low power. You're like, okay, I want to zoom in a little bit more. That's totally fine. Again, don't touch anything, but just rotate that objective into place. And it's going to look like it's coming really close, and that's okay because these higher objectives have like a little spring-loaded tip there. And so it's going to come really close, and that's totally fine. So then, again, just use the fine focus knob to get that into view, and you'll see how close that is. It's very, very close. So if I walk around and I see somebody with this much space in between their slide and this high power, I know that you're not seeing anything because that's not how the high power works. So I'm going to get things back like this. Scanning, low, high power, fine focus. Now we're ready to try to go up into oil, okay? So this is where I'm going to turn it a little bit more like this so you can see straight on. So in microbiology, we use this immersion oil. It's this little container right here. What it does is it helps the immersion oil lens work. Without it, you can see stuff, but it's super blurry. The oil is what's going to make it focus and have a nice clear image. So once you're ready to go up to oil, you have to have a nice clean view on this high, what I call the high dry, this high power with no oil. And then when you're ready, so it looks all good in your eyepieces, you're going to rotate the objectives halfway between the high dry and the oil immersion. You're going to take your oil and you drop just a small drop right over the specimen. Drop just like this. So you'll see a nice little drop of oil. Then you rotate your oil objective lens. I got to move it up because it's not high enough. There we go. Right into that oil. So you're putting that objective lens right into the oil, and then again, just use the fine focus knob here to focus. Now it can be a little bit tricky, so I always encourage students, don't just start cranking on that fine focus knob to try to find what you're looking for, because then you might, what we call losing it. It's still on the slide, but it may not be in focus. So pick a direction. I usually go away from me first. So like 1, 2, 3, full turns on that fine focus. If I can't get it in 3 full turns, then I stop. I go back 1, 2, 3. That's where I started, and then try going in the other direction. 1, 2, oh, there it is. And then you usually find it within 3 twists, either away from you or towards you from that initial starting position. Okay? So then that's how you do oil immersion. When you are done, and you're like, okay, I saw everything I want to see. And by the way, you can scan around. The oil will track with your slide. So you can scan around on the oil. That's totally fine. When you're ready, you're going to click that scanning power back into place. You're going to lower your stage take off your slide. You'll get that, and I'll tell you how to clean that in lab. And then you're going to get some lens paper. Sorry, I didn't have that close in hand. So then to get the oil off your oil objective lens, because we cannot leave that oil on there, you get some lens paper and you wipe that clean, okay? And you'll notice it'll make like a little oil spot on your lens paper, so you know that you've gotten the oil off, and you can just kind of rub on there to make sure it's clean. So then you're ready to do the next slide. You can go ahead and go back to scanning, put the slide on there, start all the way up, move it down until you see it, and then go on up through the low, the high, and then the oil. When you're completely done for the day and you're ready to put your microscope away, you need to clean it with an alcohol swab. So the alcohol swabs only come in at the very end, right before you're ready to put everything away. So you have cleaned off all of the oil with your lens paper like this. Then you take your alcohol swab and you just kind of wipe that clean to make sure you have all of the oil off. And then with your clean lens paper, you just dry that objective, because everybody's gonna sign out their own microscopes. So you have to take care of your microscope all term, because that's what you're gonna use for your unknown project, that's what you're gonna use for your practicum. So you wanna make sure that you're gonna take good care of your microscope. And so if everybody's doing that, everybody will have a great microscope experience. When you're ready to put it away completely and you've cleaned the oil immersion lens, click that low scanning power, the scanning power into place, lower the stage all the way down, neatly wrap the cord, and then you can carry the microscope back to its little cubby. All right, so today's lab for the microscopy is just getting familiar with how to use a microscope, making sure you can use both oculars, and learning how to do oil immersion, and then you'll be taking a look at some living specimens, maybe some pond water or some living bacteria. All right, I will see you next time. Bye.